Hi, my name's Jeff, and I'm going to tell you some churchy stories. And whether you're churchy or not, I think you will enjoy the stories. So here we go. Hi, this is Jeff, and this is the RoneyZone podcast where we focus on stories with heart, humor, and nostalgia. And I'm going to talk about some stories in my time at church. And already it sounds like my time at Alcatraz or something, but it was fun. I know some people don't have good recollections of church. I get that, but these are mine. And even if you're Bill Maher watching, just keep watching. It'll be okay. Have some chamomile tea, Bill, and it's going to be okay. Ricky Gervais, just hang in there. Just hang in there. Okay. So I went to church as a youngster, and I was a hooligan. I was and I still am a hooligan. I remember I was sitting next to my mom in a church, and I was using her mirror because I got bored. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't have been, but I was. And so I was using the mirror to reflect light up on the ceiling. And so I caught the eye of the pastor who looked down and saw what I was doing. And he went, "Hey, don't, hey." And so I was a magician, and I palmed the mirror. And mom looked over and said, "Who was that? Who was doing it?" I said, "I don't know. They're back there. Some person, I'm going to pray for him." And she goes, "Just be quiet." Okay. All right. So I had some very interesting moments in church, and another one was I was one of the wise men in a Christmas pageant. I was just a little youngster, and so the, and this church was kind of forward thinking because they recorded our Christmas pageant and they put it on a Christian radio station. And so, of course, my dad was on the staff and my mom was on the staff as well. And so we listened to this Christian radio station where they played this play years after. And so I was one of the wise men. I guess they really were hurting, and they reached the bottom of the barrel for the wise men, so they chose me. We were standing next to the piano player. What she was doing was she was giving us a cue before she was starting to play. And so she was kind of like getting us ready, like, okay. And then when she said, okay, for some reason, I got it in my head. It was now. And so we were singing, We Three Kings of Orient are. And so she pointed as I go, okay. And I go, we. And not only was it there that night, but every year after that, when they would play the Christmas pageant on the radio station, I would listen. I go, we. I said, that was me. That was me. I know it's all about the baby Jesus, but I'm telling you, at that moment, it was about me. King number 2 or 1 or whichever one I was. I can't even remember what I was carrying, myrrh or frankincense. I don't know. But I had so much fun. I remember later on, I played Psalty, which was a low point in my career. It's funny. When you go to college and you say, I want to be a director or I want to be an actor, the first thing people say is, oh, well, you're going to play some goofy Christian character on our play. Because there you go. Or if you say, I want to be a director, or I want to be a filmmaker, it's like, oh, then you're going to videotape our wedding for nothing. Or they say, oh, you want to be a sound person? Oh, then you're going to go do the sound board for the church. And they always have something that, they're locked into you doing forever. I was in this Christmas play and it was about an investigator like Inspector Gadget or Humphrey Bogart or something investigating the parts of Christmas that are different than Christmas trees and gifts and all that. Anyway, so I knew the lines. I remember there was a person playing the Christmas tree. And so I was investigating this Christmas tree and trying to get to the bottom of what Christmas is really about. So I said, okay, Greeny, give it up, or something like that. And I went off script. The kid playing the Christmas tree's eyes got real big, and it was like, I don't. And so the director came over and put her arm around my shoulders and kind of pulled me away and said, please don't, please don't do that. Don't go off script. I know you're, a little older and you think you got, but please don't, because you're freaking out the tree. Don't do that. All right. Okay. So I mentioned it in another video, but we did so I did the play about Moses and the burning bush, and I needed a voice of God. And so my buddy from Alabama was the voice of God. So for the first time in your life, I mean, it played well. It would probably play well in Texas or Kentucky or something. But in California, it was a little strange to have a Southern accented God. But we did in our play, boy. But one of the funnest things is I used to watch Saturday Night Live. And my grandma was asleep, getting up for choir the next day. And so I watched Saturday Night Live. And I understood the idea of making fun of authority. And so I wanted to do a play about the church staff. And we cast everybody. There was a guy, the youth pastor, just such a great guy. His name was Bill. And he talked really fast. He talked really fast like this. And, he had to kind of slow down when he sang, because if he sang fast, he would lose the accompaniment person. So Bill, we got a guy to talk real slow. It was just hilarious. And a buddy of mine played the pastor, Lidstrand, and I played the choir director. His name in the play was Lawrence Prettyman, and I can't remember his real name. And so my character of the choir director was Lawrence Welk, but it was Lawrence Prettyman. And so I talk like this, a 1 and 2 and a 3. We're going to sing. And I knew I couldn't make fun of normal church songs because I figured lightning would strike me dead. So we sang things like I've Been Working on the Road, and just songs that I figured wouldn't get me in trouble with God or something. We did that. And so I was doing the motions with my hands, and then all of a sudden I started flapping like a bird. I have to tell you, Bill was such a great youth pastor because he let me be me. It's such a great time. I may have been Batman in the Christmas play as a little kid. I may have shown the bat signal on the roof of the church. There may have been that. I may have brought a radio on the church trip to, I think it was Knott's Berry Farm. And so I was listening to rock music because I love rock music. And a friend of mine, Holly, said, Jeff, turn that off. Because Bill was up front. He was taking a nap because he was busy all the time. Bill, the youth pastor, was good at every sport. That guy, he could play anything. Basketball, baseball, anything. I figured he would sleep through me turning on KLOS and listening to Jim Ladd or whatever. But Holly was just concerned that, God would kind of catch wind of it and get me in trouble. And so she was trying to help me, whatever. But Jeff at church was fun. Oh, and then I remember holding hands with a girl I was dating underneath the hymnal. Oh, man. I was a rebel. And I was a bad guy, bad guy, holding hands under the hymnal and all that. And then I would tell all the people, I say, what's fun to do? And whenever I said that, it was never a good idea. And they would go, well, what's fun? Because it was church and they figured, okay, well, what's fun? And I said, read all the names of the hymns in the hymnal and put in bed after. And so I was sitting around all my friends, and then I hear it start to chuckle, and the pastor's talking about something just really serious, and I hearing these guys chuckle, and I go, "Be quiet, man, do that later." But they couldn't help themselves. I remember one time, I'll end with this. I got plenty more, but I'll end with this. So the pastor was doing this 8-week series about fasting, and the sermons were extra long, and my stomach. And so what I finally did is I went and I bought a bunch of protein bars. I put them in my pants pockets, and I told all my friends, I go, "Look, if you get hungry, just let me know, because I've got, And I know you weren't supposed to eat in church, but I was trying to reach out to my brothers and sisters and help them because they needed help, And I know Jesus fed the 5,000, and I was feeding the hungry people in the church, waiting for the pastor to be done with the sermon. Anyway, lots of funny church stories. And like I said, I understand people that did not have a good church experience. I get it. But so if you enjoy stories like this, they're different. I'm not going to always talk about church, but if you enjoy kind of fun, funny stories about the past and when you're younger, or whatever, please subscribe to our channel and click on the like button. Like it and subscribe. We really appreciate that. But more than that, please comment. Did you ever have fun things that you did in church? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. And also kind of where you were at. I mean, not the address or whatever, but hey, I went to church in Wisconsin or whatever. But you tell me a little bit about you, and then where you went to church, and then what happened. The funny story of that. So again, this is Jeff, and this is the RoneyZone podcast. And until next time, see you later. Bye-bye.